A very good evening and welcome to yet another edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jadabdeen. We start off with a look at your headlines.
Newsfirst headline.
And making headlines, 2024 electoral list officially published. Tamil parties agree to field common presidential candidate. Former MP Hirunika Premachandra released on bail. Sri Lanka's central bank seen holding rates to foster stability according to Reuters poll. Israel issues evacuation orders in South Gaza, kills 16 Palestinians. And in sports, Kremlin says French failure to accredit some Russian journalists for Paris Games is unacceptable. And in your top story this evening, the 2024 electoral list has been officially published. Chairman of the Elections Commission R.M.L. Ratnayaka said the certified 2024 electoral list is now published on the official website of the Elections Commission. He added that if necessary, the electoral list will be printed. Meanwhile, the Elections Commission says the date of the presidential election will be announced before the end of this week. A senior spokesperson said the presidential election date has also been decided. He further confirmed that the relevant date will be announced before the end of this week. Meanwhile, the members of the National Election Commission are scheduled to meet next Wednesday or Thursday for a special discussion on the presidential election. 5 days have passed since the Election Commission was vested with the power to proclaim the date for the presidential election. And also in more local news, several Tamil political parties and a group of representatives of civil organizations have reached an agreement to present a common Tamil candidate for the upcoming presidential election. The agreement was signed in Jaffna today by 7 parties, including Telo, led by MP Selvam Adaikarnathan, Plot, led by MP Dharmalingam Siddharthan, Tamil People's Alliance, led by MP C.V. Vigneswaran, Tamil National Party, led by Attorney-at-Law N. Srikantha, and EPRLF, led by Suresh Premachandran. The Tamil People General Assembly, comprising of several Tamil civil organizations, also signed the agreement. However, the Lanka Tamil Arasu Katchi, comprising President's Council, M.S. Sumandiran, and the Tamil National People's Front, comprising Attorney-at-Law Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam, did not sign the agreement today. And also in more local news, the Colombo High Court today released on bail former MP Hirunika Premachandra, who was sentenced to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment. The order was issued when the bail application was called before Colombo High Court Judge Amal Ranaraja. The judge ordered that Hirunika Premachandra be released on bail subject to the appeal filed before the Court of Appeal. She was released on a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and 2 sureties of 500,000 rupees each. The court also issued an overseas travel ban on Hirunika Premachandra. On the 28th of June, High Court Judge Amal Ranaraja sentenced Hirunika Premachandra to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment under 18 indictments in relation to the case filed over the abduction of a youth who worked at a shop in Demaragoda. The youth was abducted in a defender in 2015, threatened and subject to torture. And also shifting your attention towards more local news, the Reuters poll claims that Sri Lanka's central bank is expected to hold interest rates to foster stability. Sri Lanka's central bank is expected to hold interest rates for a second straight meeting on Wednesday as it attempts to maintain monetary stability in the shadow of a dragging financial crisis and counter simmering political tensions. 9 out of 14 economists and analysts polled by Reuters expect the standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate to be unchanged at 8.50% and 9.50% respectively. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka reduced rates by 50 bps in March as it continued an easing cycle that has seen rates drop by 700 bps since June, partially reversing the 1050 bps in increases since April 2022. Sri Lanka's key inflation rate dropped to 1.7% in June and is likely to remain under CBSL's target of 5% of the year, analysts confirmed. But persistent political concerns around how Sri Lanka's upcoming presidential election, which is expected to be announced later this month, will play out will play out rather is weighing on the economy, they added. The election is expected to be held in late September or early October. CBSL expects Sri Lanka to grow by 3% this year, 2 years after the economy shrank 7.3% due to a severe dollar shortage. And up next is international news.
International news.
And in news overseas, Israeli tank shelling and airstrikes killed at least 16 Palestinians near Khan Yunis. Gaza medics confirmed after Israel issued new orders to evacuate some neighborhoods following what it said were renewed attacks from those areas. To facilitate evacuations, the military said it was adjusting the boundaries of a humanitarian zone in Al-Mawasi to keep the civilian population away from areas of combat with Hamas-led Palestinian militants. Palestinian health officials said at least 16 Palestinians were killed by Israeli tank salvos in the town of Bani Suhaila, just east of the southern city of Khan Yunis, with the area also bombarded by air. And up next is your update on sports.
Sports news.
And in sports, the Kremlin says that a decision by France to refuse to accredit some Russian journalists for the Paris 2024 Olympics over security fears was unacceptable rather, and accused the French authorities of undermining media freedom. France's caretaker interior minister said that French security services had rejected more than 4,000 applications for Olympics accreditations, including over espionage and cyber attack concerns. Gerald Darmanin, who said close to 100 applications had been rejected over espionage fears, said some of those turned down were from Russia and Belarus, a staunch ally of Moscow. And with that, we wrap up this edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Shadabdin. Thank you for listening.